Come on, baby, let's ride. Passport stamp, got the windows down. Laughing so hard all over town. From 5-star nights to a roadside view. Every drink is better with you.
Welcome back to our channel. Today we're taking you along with us to one of the most unique and absolutely beautiful places we've ever visited. Before we even made it to White Sands, we had a little unexpected stop along the way. On our route, we had to go through U.S. Border Patrol, the checkpoint. Now, if you've never traveled this part of New Mexico before, this might catch you a little bit off guard as you're still traveling the United States. But the entire process is really simple and straightforward. We pulled up, the officer asked if we were U.S. citizens. We said yes, of course, and that was pretty much it, and we were well on our way. So today we're going to take you along with us to the White Sands National Park. Now, when you hear the name White Sands, you already have an idea of what you're going to see. But trust me, pictures and videos really don't prepare you for what this place looks like in person. It almost doesn't look real. So come along with us as we make our way into the park, learn a little bit about what makes White Sands so special, and of course, take in these incredible views. And wait until you see what it actually looks like in person and as we get into these dunes. Now our timing was cutting it a little close. By the time we arrived at the White Sands Visitor Center, we only had about 15 minutes before closing. So you already know what that means. We had to move. We went inside in just enough time to look around and grab a few souvenirs before they closed for the day. But one of the things I personally like to collect when we travel is patches. Some people collect magnets, mugs, postcards. For me, it's patches. They're small, easy to pack, and it's become one of the little reminders of the places that we've experienced. So as we left the visitor center, we left and we headed towards the entrance station, and we made our way into the White Sands National Park. And this is where everything began to change. As we started driving farther into the park and seeing more of the landscape, all I could think of was, wow. White Sands is literally breathtaking. And I know people use that word a lot when talking about beautiful places, but this was one of the places that we really do not have to stop for a second and take everything in. Like, you literally have to take it in. When you are driving, the landscape just keeps getting wider and wider and just as pure as snow, I'll say. Just to put it to comparison, you have these massive rows of dunes in front of you, mountains off to the distance, beautiful blue skies that seems so unreal. It was just perfect. And eventually it starts looking like New Mexico, and more like, it stopped looking like New Mexico and it looks more like somewhere in another planet, literally. And we really lucked out as far as the weather. The weather was perfect. I want to say it was in the 80s. The winds were pretty mild, so there was no blowing sands, and it was perfect for, had perfect visibility. The temperature was very comfortable and mild too. There also wasn't much of a crowd during this visit. It was a perfect time of year, no special occasion. That made the experience even better because there were moments that we could look around and almost feel like we were just in normal landscapes by ourselves. So what exactly is White Sands? Because despite the name, this actually isn't your typical sand. White Sands National Park sits in the Tularosa Basin of southern New Mexico and protects part of the largest gypsum dune field in the world. The entire dune field stretches across approximately 275 square miles. And here's what's really interesting. The beautiful white material you're looking at isn't quartz sand like you would normally find at a beach. It's called gypsum. Many of years ago, the region looked completely different. So it was about 280 million years ago, long time. A shallow sea covered this part of what is now the southwestern United States. And over time, the and other materials were deposited in this area. And this process still is happening now. The wind continues to shape and move the dunes, meaning the landscape is constantly changing. So technically, the white sands that we're looking at today won't even look like this forever. Nature is constantly changing and redesigning itself. Now we're finally getting out and walking around, and this is when you really start to appreciate just how massive this place is. When you're driving through, it's beautiful, but standing in the middle of the dunes is a completely different experience. So look at this. The white sand in every direction, and because it's gypsum, those sands behave in a little bit different than you'll typically find the sand at the beach. One of the coolest things about gypsum is that it doesn't absorb the heat from the sun, so it's actually really cool to touch.
Footsteps.
So even though you're standing in the middle of the desert, the sand can feel surprisingly comfortable under your feet. You can actually walk barefoot on portions of the dune when conditions are right. But we didn't. We kept our shoes on. You have the bright white dunes, the blue skies, the mountains, and these desert plants somehow survive right in the middle of it all with very little water or no water at all. It's one of those places where every direction gives you just another photo opportunity, and we took full advantage of it. So White Sands National Park has also had an interesting journey towards becoming the national park that we know today. President Hoover established White Sands National Monument in 1933, and the Visitor Center complex was later built during the Great Depression era. Interesting, with the construction beginning in the 1930s. So although this landscape has existed for thousands of years, its official designation as a national park is actually fairly recent. There are times that we had to remind ourselves that this isn't snow because depending on the angles and the lighting, this is exactly what it looks like. And I'm sure it looks like on camera. So you had the snow-covered hills in the middle of New Mexico, but then you stepped outside and just remember, nope, this isn't actually snow. It appears to be white sand, just what it's called. But we're definitely in the desert. You know, we feel the heat, but like I said, it's cool to touch. And because we didn't have a huge crowd around us, we were able to slow down, walk around, put our hands in the sand, take pictures, get some video, and just enjoy being there.
It's like a beach.
Sometimes when you're traveling, you're constantly thinking about the next stop. What are we going to do next? Where are we going? Where are we headed? What time do we have to leave? How long is the drive? But White Sands is one of those places that made us actually slow down. Sometimes you just have to put the camera down for a minute and actually look at what's around you and just take a moment to take it all in. And if you're planning your own trip here, there's actually more to do than simply drive around and take pictures. White Sands actually has several hiking trails throughout the park. You can walk through the dunes, explore the landscape, enjoy a picnic, and one of the most popular activities here is actually the sand sledding. We didn't partake in that because we got to the visitor center too late to actually rent or purchase a sled, but they were actually very, very affordable. I want to say they were under $20. So people bring their sleds right on the dunes and just slide right down. So they were all around us, but like I said, we didn't have an opportunity to do it on this trip, but maybe next time. So if you're someone who loves photography or creating travel content, White Sands is actually one of those places where you can spend hours of filming. The light changes the entire appearance of the dunes. We actually saw a young lady there that was in her wedding dress taking her pictures. It was absolutely beautiful. And so I could just only imagine how those photos turned out. As the sun gets lower, you start seeing more shadows and definition in the sand. The mountains in the distance become more dramatic, and the white dunes start picking up those soft golden pink and blue tones. It's beautiful, it's peaceful. You can hear the wind moving around the dunes, but otherwise, there are moments where everything feels incredibly quiet and peaceful. So, what did you think about White Sands National Park? This one gets a definite yes from us. If you're traveling through New Mexico and you're anywhere near this area, I would absolutely recommend adding white sands to your itinerary. The scenery is incredible, the history is fascinating, and it's completely different from anything that we've ever experienced. Before coming here, I knew we were going to see the white sands and the dunes, but I don't think I understood the scale of it until we actually arrived. You really have to stand out here and actually see it for yourself. And I'm so glad that we were able to experience it on such a beautiful day. Perfect weather, mild winds, very few crowds, miles and miles of beautiful white dunes. Definitely another unforgettable stop on our trip. So thanks for stopping by our channel again today, and we'll see you in the next one.
Cruising down a one-way street, moving my body to the gentle beat. Nothing but clear skies in my head, forgetting all the worries that I had. Simple moments feel so right.